What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Now, I love a good engineering problem, a complex build, or launching something into space. But today, we're diving into a different kind of mystery. One that purrs, sleeps about 70% of the time, and has completely taken over the internet. That's right, we are talking about cats. I've spent weeks digging through scientific papers, historical archives, and even talked to a few feline behaviorists to bring you the most mind-blowing, scientifically backed, and just plain awesome facts about our furry little overlords. These aren't just your average run-of-the-mill trivia tidbits. Oh no, we're going deep. We're talking about their surprising anatomy that would make any engineer jealous, their secret communication methods, and even their connection to the largest predators in the jungle. So, whether you have a cat curled up on your lap right now, or you're just a fan of amazing animal science, you are in for an absolute treat. This is the ultimate collection of cat facts that will make you the most interesting person at your next trivia night, guaranteed. And because the best science is collaborative, I want to hear from you. As we go through this list, if you know an amazing cat fact that I don't mention, I want you to drop it in the comments below. Let's build the ultimate cat fact database together, right here, right now. Think of it as a peer-reviewed study, but with more cat memes. All right, enough talk. Let's get into the science of cats. All right, let's kick things off by rewinding the clock. Way back, like before the pyramids, before writing, before your great-great-great. You get the idea. We often think of the ancient Egyptians as the original cat people, right? With their cat gods and mummified felines. But what if I told you our partnership with cats goes back even further? In 2004, archaeologists on the island of Cyprus were excavating a Neolithic village, and they found a human grave. But this person wasn't buried alone. Just 40 centimeters away, in its own tiny, carefully prepared grave, was a cat. This wasn't just some random cat skeleton that happened to be nearby. It was intentionally buried with its human companion, along with polished stones and other artifacts. Radiocarbon dating put the site at 9,500 years old. This discovery completely rewrote the timeline of cat domestication. It suggests that long before they were worshipped as gods in Egypt, cats were already our valued companions. They weren't just tolerated for catching mice, they were friends, important enough to be buried with us for the journey into the afterlife. It's a powerful reminder that our bond with these animals is ancient and deeply ingrained in our shared history. Okay, for our next fact, we need to talk about some seriously cool biological engineering. Have you ever seen a cat pour itself through an impossibly small opening? It's like they're made of liquid. The secret behind this superpower is what they don't have. Cats have no functional collarbone. Instead, they have a tiny, free-floating clavicle bone that doesn't connect to their other bones. This gives their shoulders incredible flexibility, allowing them to squeeze their entire body through any opening that's wide enough for their head. Their whiskers actually act as built-in rulers, helping them gauge if a space is big enough to pass through. This unique anatomy also contributes to their legendary ability to always land on their feet, a phenomenon known as the righting reflex. When a cat falls, its incredibly sensitive inner ear, which acts like a gyroscope, tells it which way is up. The lack of a rigid collarbone allows it to twist its spine with amazing speed and flexibility, up to 180 degrees. It twists its head first, then its front legs, and finally its hind legs, all while airborne, to orient itself for a perfect four-point landing. It's a feat of physics and biology that happens in fractions of a second. Here's one that will make you look at your cat's cute little nose in a whole new way. We humans have fingerprints, unique patterns of ridges on our fingertips that can be used to identify us. No two are alike. Well, get this. Cats have their own version of a fingerprint, but it's on their nose. The leathery part of a cat's nose, called the nose pad, has a unique pattern of bumps and ridges. Just like a human fingerprint, the pattern on every single cat's nose is completely unique. Think about the implications of that. Right now, if a cat gets lost, we rely on microchips or collars. But imagine a future where a simple, high-resolution photo of a cat's nose could be used to instantly identify it and reunite it with its owner. Some animal shelters and tech companies are already exploring this. It's a non-invasive, permanent biological marker that every cat is born with. So next time your cat boops you with its nose, remember you're being touched by a one-of-a-kind biological signature. It's nature's perfect ID card. We all talk to our cats, right? I mean, we use a special cat voice, and we're totally convinced they understand us. But what if they're actually trying to talk back in a way that's way more sophisticated than just a simple meow? So get this. A fascinating study from a few years ago found that some cats are actually capable of mimicking the vocal tones and melodies of human speech. Now, this isn't about them learning words, but more about them matching the pitch and intonation of their owners' voices to communicate their needs more effectively. The researchers noticed that the meows cats use to talk to humans are super different from the sounds they use to communicate with other cats. When they want something, like food or attention, some cats will modulate their meows to sound eerily similar to a human baby's cry, a sound we're basically biologically programmed to respond to. They've essentially learned to hack our brains by imitating a sound that gets our immediate attention. It's a subtle but honestly brilliant form of social manipulation, and just more proof that they're paying very close attention to how we communicate. Have you ever watched your sweet, fluffy cat stalking a toy mouse or, I don't know, a dust bunny, and seen a flash of something wild in its eyes, like a flicker of a predator? Well, that's not your imagination. A groundbreaking study that mapped the feline genome revealed something pretty astonishing. The domestic cat shares about 95.6% of its DNA with the tiger. Just let that sink in for a second. The little creature purring on your couch is, genetically speaking, a miniature version of the largest cat species on Earth. This shared DNA explains so many of their quirky behaviors. The way they stalk their prey, the way they pounce, their habit of scratching to mark their territory, and even their preference for hunting at dawn and dusk. It's all straight out of the tiger playbook. Even their diet is similar. Both are obligate carnivores, which means they need meat to survive. So when your cat brings you a gift like a toy or, unfortunately, something it caught outside, it's not just being mischievous. It's acting on millions of years of predatory instinct, treating you as a member of its tiger family, and in its own way, trying to teach you how to hunt. Ever tried to give your cat a lick of your ice cream or, a piece of a sweet pastry, only for them to just turn their nose up at it? You might think they're just being picky, but honestly, the truth is rooted in their genetics. Cats are one of the few mammals on the planet that literally cannot taste sweetness. It's not a preference. It's actually a biological impossibility. They have a genetic mutation that has deactivated the key taste receptors for sweet flavors. And from an evolutionary standpoint, this totally makes sense. As we just learned, cats are obligate carnivores. Their diet in the wild is 100% meat. There's just no evolutionary advantage for them to be able to detect sugar, since it's not something they would ever need to seek out for energy. This genetic quirk is why you'll never see a cat raiding the fruit bowl. Instead, their sense of taste is highly tuned to detect amino acids, the building blocks of protein. So, when your cat seems to love a particular food, it's not the flavor as we know it, but the specific protein profile that they find absolutely irresistible. If sleeping were an Olympic sport, cats would be perennial gold medalists. It might seem like your cat is just being lazy, but, their epic sleep schedule is actually a crucial survival strategy inherited from their wild ancestors. On average, cats sleep for 12 to 16 hours a day, and honestly, kittens and senior cats can sleep even longer. When you do the math, that means cats spend roughly 70% of their entire lives asleep or dozing. That's more than double the amount humans sleep. But why so much sleep? Well, it's all about conserving energy. Hunting requires short, intense bursts of power to stalk, chase, and pounce on prey. All that snoozing is essentially charging their batteries for the few hours they are most active, which are typically at dawn and dusk, the prime hunting times for their prey. So, when you see your cat curled up in a sunbeam, they're not being unproductive. They're engaging in a vital, energy-saving behavior that has allowed their species to thrive as one of the world's most efficient predators for millions of years. We all know about Laika the dog and Ham the chimp, the famous animal astronauts. But did you know that France sent the very first and so far only cat into space? Her name was Félicette, and she was a stray from the streets of Paris who became a true space pioneer. In the early 1960s, France had a space program and wanted to study how weightlessness affected living beings. They trained a group of 14 cats for the mission, and Félicette was chosen for her calm demeanor. On October 18, 1963, Félicette was launched atop a Veronique rocket. She traveled nearly 100 miles above the Earth, experiencing several minutes of weightlessness before her capsule parachuted safely back down. Electrodes implanted in her brain transmitted neurological data back to scientists, providing valuable information for future human spaceflight. For a long time, her story was largely forgotten, often misattributed to a male cat named Felix. But recently, thanks to a crowdfunding campaign, a bronze statue was erected in her honor, cementing her rightful place in space history as the first and only astrocat. Few animals are as wrapped up in superstition and folklore as the cat, especially the black cat. What's fascinating is how their symbolism can be completely opposite depending on where you are in the world. In many Western cultures, particularly in the United States, a black cat crossing your path is considered a sign of bad luck. This belief dates back to the Middle Ages in Europe, where they were associated with witches and seen as demonic figures. But if you travel to Japan or the United Kingdom, the story flips entirely. In Japan, owning a black cat is considered very lucky, especially for single women, as it's believed to attract suitors. In the UK and other parts of Europe, a black cat crossing your path is a sign of good fortune to come. It's a powerful example of how culture shapes our perception. The exact same animal can be seen as a harbinger of doom or a beacon of good luck, all based on stories passed down through generations. Cats may not speak our language, but they are constantly communicating with us and other cats through a complex and subtle body language. Learning to read these signals is the key to truly understanding what your cat is thinking and feeling. For example, the tail is like a mood barometer. A tail held high and straight up means they are happy and confident. A tail that's twitching back and forth can signal excitement, but if it's thrashing, it means they are agitated or angry. And if two friendly cats greet each other, they will often intertwine their tails as a sign of friendship, like a feline handshake. But it's not just the tail. Their eyes are incredibly expressive too. Slow blinking is a major sign of trust and affection, often called a cat kiss. If a cat gives you a slow blink, you can return the gesture to show you are a friend and not a threat. Wide, dilated pupils can mean they are playful and excited, but can also indicate fear or aggression, so you have to look at the context. By paying attention to their ears, eyes, tail, and posture altogether, you can start to decode their silent language and build an even deeper bond with your amazing feline companion. And there you have it. 10 scientifically backed, mind-blowing facts that prove cats are even more incredible than we thought. From their ancient history as our companions to their liquid-like anatomy and their secret ability to mimic our voices, these animals are a marvel of evolution and engineering. It just goes to show that there's amazing science all around us, even curled up sleeping on our own couch. I honestly had so much fun digging into the research for this one, and I hope you learned something new that makes you appreciate your furry friend even more. Now, it's your turn to be the scientist. As I said at the beginning, I want to hear from you. What is your absolute favorite cat fact? Did I miss a great one? Is there a weird thing your cat does that you think has a scientific explanation? Drop it all in the comments below. I'm going to be reading through them, and I can't wait to see what we can learn from this amazing community. Let's make this the #1 spot on the internet for awesome cat knowledge. Thank you so much for hanging out and geeking out with me today. If you had fun and want to see more deep dives into the science of everyday things, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss the next video. Until then, stay curious and give your cat a slow blink for me. See ya!